Nice to meet you, sir.
All right, it is 11 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you all for joining us. I have been with the district just shy of 10 years, and Mr. Townsend from AAA first contacted me, I think about a year into my job here, asking if Savannah wanted to get in on this campaign to remind drivers at the start of every school year to use a little extra patience and precautions as you drive through school zones when schools start back up next week. Right now, to tell you a little bit more about it, I'm going to call up Mr. Garrett Townsend from AAA.
Good morning, everyone. As Sheila mentioned, it's been about right about 9 years since AAA has partnered with Savannah County School System for the AAA Schools Open Drive Carefully campaign. This campaign actually has been in existence since 1946. Can you imagine that? Long before the roads were crowded with cars and we had distractions such as cell phones. But even at that point, there was a recognition of the fact that kids are going back to school and school zones are now in effect. And it's necessary to slow down and be watchful of those, especially little feet that are heading back sometime, in some cases, to their first day of kindergarten. In just a few days, about 1.7 million kids are going to be heading back to school here in Georgia. And the Georgia roadways are getting increasingly crowded. There's a lot of construction that's going on. And in many cases, we just went through those school zones during the summertime because there were no lights flashing, there were no feet or bicycles heading to school. But that stops next week. Why? Because the school zones are back in effect, and we'll be sharing the roadway with our most precious children that are going to be heading back to school. A recent survey noted that about 70% of people commute through a school zone on the way to or from work. But another alarming statistic is that about 41% of Georgians admitted to driving over the speed limit while in an active school zone. About 28% admitted to holding a cell phone while driving through a school zone. And these are just the ones that admitted it. Likely it's largely underrepresented. There's probably a lot more that are violating our school zones because they are distracted or in a rush to get to where they think they need to be. So as always, we have just a few reminders that we want to keep in mind as the children are heading back to school. One is the obvious one: slow down. The fact is, the faster that we go, the more likely it is that if we come in contact with a pedestrian, there's going to be more significant injuries, possibly even a fatality. So slow down. The second thing is to eliminate distractions. You're going to hear over and over again from our partners here today, whether it be Savannah, Chatham County, or our other law enforcement partners, you're going to hear the importance of eliminating distractions. And we talk about distractions, it's not just the cell phones. Other passengers are largely distractions as well. So focus on the task of driving and talk to your teens. Well, why do we say that? Because in some cases, the summertime is sort of the rite of passage to get your driver's license. And this may be the first time that our teens are driving through those school zones. So it's very important to have a conversation with them, maybe even doing a dry run with them. Not only how they go through a school zone when they see those lights flashing, but what about when they have to operate when there are school buses on the road? Perhaps this is the first time that they've done that. There are laws in place that are going to be mentioned here today so that the children on the buses, our bus drivers, and everyone around can be kept safe. So have a conversation with your teens, and then watch out for bicycles. In some cases, children are walking to school, they're riding the bus, which is the safest form of transportation, but in some cases they're going to be riding their bicycles to school as well. They're a little unsteady. Maybe this is the first time that they've done that. So knowing that, it's important for motorists to watch out for them, be another set of eyes for them, knowing that they may be a little unsteady on those bicycles. These are just some reminders, but ultimately the goal is that school's almost back in session. We want to make sure that they have a happy, safe school year, and we can all do that by making sure that we are driving carefully, slowing down, and to make sure we take all the proper precautions on the roadways. Next, I'd like to introduce our partner for the Schools Open Drive Carefully campaign, Dr. Denise Watts, Superintendent of Savannah Chatham County Schools. Dr. Watts?
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here today, and most especially, thank you for the men and women behind me who we get to partner with each and every day to keep our students safe. In less than a week, we will be welcoming back about 35,000 students back into Savannah Chatham County Public School System. And of course, there is great excitement about that. A little over 3,000 of our students do not ride on our school buses. And so as you've mentioned before, there will be walkers, there will be bikers, there will be parents who will be transporting their students back and forth to school next week. And we ask that you start having conversations, you are planned, you get up early on the day that school starts so that you can take your time and be extra vigilant as you are transporting yourself and your child back and forth to school. It's always better to be safe than sorry. And we want to make sure that we do transport our most prized resource and asset in this community, our children, to and from school safely. So again, I'd like to just reiterate that I am extremely thankful for this partnership that we've been in now for almost a decade. Of course, I'm thankful to all of our police department, sheriff department, and all the municipalities in the county for this partnership. They are such an important role in that safety, but it's a partnership, and that partnership exists between our police officers and our families and our commuters that are making their way back and forth to work and other destinations. So please do your part, and we will make sure we do ours. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Chief Terry Enoch, Chief of the Board of Education Police Department. It's a pleasure to be here today for AAA's School Opening Drive Carefully campaign. Schools Opening Drive Carefully campaign. I want to begin by thanking AAA and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety for continuing to lead the charge in raising awareness about the critical importance of safe driving in and around our schools. I got to tell you today that your partnership remains essential to protecting, as the superintendent said, our most valuable cargo, and that's our children. Also like to acknowledge the presence of our local sheriff and our local police chiefs and the police departments who are really the foundation of all of this. They're out patrolling the roads. They're making sure that our roads are safe, and I have to tell you, their ongoing support and collaboration in this campaign throughout the school year is the key to building safer roads and safer school zones in our region. You know, as we prepare to welcome thousands of kids back to school, the classrooms across this county, I want to remind every driver, school is back in session. And that means we all need to slow down, we need to stay alert, and we need to drive responsibly. This year, you'll see an increase in patrols and traffic enforcement in and near our school zones. Speed cameras are operational. Crossing guards are stationed, and officers are actively monitoring our traffic. You see, we know the first few weeks are going to be what? It's going to be hectic. And morning routines are rushed, drop-off lines are long, and that means that tempers are going to run high. I urge every parent, every commuter, every community member to put on an extra layer of patience this season. Our children's safety depends on it. Let me offer a few key reminders as we head into the new school year. Heads up, phones down. Distracted driving is one of the leading causes of preventable accidents. You know, a few seconds with your eyes off the road can change your life forever. Slow down in school zones. Obey posted speed limits, especially when flashers are blinking. You know, even 5 minutes over the limit can mean the difference between a close call and a tragedy. I ask that you respect our crosswalks and our crossing guards. Never block a crosswalk. Never rush through an intersection. And always stop when directed by a school patrol officer. You see, these are just guidelines. Well, let me say this. These are just not guidelines. These are life-saving rules that we need to follow to make sure that our kids are safe. As the superintendent mentioned, we need to be alert for bicyclists and pedestrians that are walking. Over 3,000 that are not on our buses are either riding to school or they're walking routes. You see, children may dart between parked cars, they may fail to look both ways, they may make sudden movements. Your caution and awareness, that's their safety net. And finally, I'm gonna ask you to do something for me. I want you to be a role model. You see, our children are watching. Let us show them what it means to be responsible, respectful, and community-minded driving, what that looks like. Let them see that in us. Let us model that behavior to them. You see, I got to tell you, this is more than a traffic campaign. It's a community commitment. You see, every stop sign that's obeyed, every speed limit honored, every distraction avoided is a step towards a safer school year. So let's welcome all of our students back, not just with enthusiasm, but with vigilance, responsibility, and care. Thank you again to AAA and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and to every partner in this effort. Together we can, together we will ensure that every child arrives at school and returns home safely. Let's make it a safe and successful school year. Thank you very much. As we bring up Ms. Angela Upshaw from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety to make some remarks.
Good morning, everyone. The Governor's Office of Highway Safety is once again proud to partner with our friends AAA for the 78th annual Schools Open, Drive Carefully Back to School Tour. We are also here alongside the Georgia Department of Public Safety's Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division, and I would like to thank the Chatham County School District for hosting us, and thank you to our media partners that we have here today. The 2025-2026 school year is about to begin, and even though I'm sure students wish they could give summertime a speeding ticket because it went by too fast, students aren't the only ones that have to get into this back-to-school mode. Drivers, school zones will be back active, and school buses will be back on our roads. In Georgia, school buses are illegally passed up to 9,000 times a school day. That turns out to be 1.6 million times in a 180-day school year, and that is just unacceptable. According to crash data, riding a school bus is the safest way for a student to get to and from school, but the most dangerous part of that journey is that child getting on and off the bus. The Georgia law on when you must stop for a school bus is very simple. If you are on the same roadway as the school bus and you are facing that school bus and it has its stop lights activated and its stop arm extended, you must stop. As simple as that. Now, if that school bus is going on the opposite way of traffic and you are separated by a physical barrier, that means like a grass median. If a grass median is separating you from that school bus, you do not have to stop when the school bus lights are activated and the school bus stop arm is extended. However, we still advise you to just slow down and drive a safe speed because, like our other speaker said, children can be unpredictable. I also want to note that a center lane is not a physical barrier. So if a center lane is the only thing separating you from that school bus, you must still stop when that school bus stop lights are on and its stop arm is extended because you are still on the same roadway as the school bus. We are also reminding drivers to please obey these school zone speed limits. Children are unpredictable, so if you are driving at a safe, cautious speed, you'll be able to stop if needed to for a young student. We are also reminding drivers to drive hands-free. Program your GPS before you start your journey so you have no reason to touch your phone while you are driving. Let's make this school year and every other school year a safe one. And with that being said, I would now like to introduce Lieutenant Carlisle with the Georgia Department of Public Safety's Enforcement Division.
Thank you, Ms. Upshaw. On the behalf of the Department of Public Safety, Commercial Vehicle Enforcement, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come speak at this campaign. This campaign aims to raise awareness and remind drivers that school is back in session, bringing greater responsibility to driver safety, especially near school zones. This is a proactive approach to prevent tragedies before they happen. The importance of school zones and school zone awareness are things like school zones being much higher risk for areas where children could unexpectedly dart out in front of traffic. We're relying on you and your life experience to know that these areas can be dangerous for children. Slow down, pay attention, stay vigilant. Buses make frequent stops and traffic patterns shift during school arrival and dismissal times. Drivers should stay alert, follow reduced speed limits, and avoid distractions like using the cell phones as mentioned. When a school bus slows down or stops, don't just watch the bus. Watch the surrounding area too. Children often wait several feet away from the bus to cross the street. And when getting on or off, you never know where they might come from. That's why it's critical to stop for school buses and never try to pass them. The Schools Open Drive Carefully tour combines enforcement with education. Law enforcement will have an increased presence near schools and also work with the community to educate. This campaign is not about writing tickets. It's about saving lives and building safer communities. The reality of speeding in school zones are that a vehicle traveling 35 miles per hour is 4 times more likely to have a fatal event with a child than a vehicle traveling 25 miles per hour. So think about that. Just a 10 mile per hour difference, it's 4 times more likely for that child to be seriously injured or even a fatality take place. When you speed in school zones, you're not just breaking the law, you're risking a child's life. State troopers and CVE officers are encouraging every driver to make a conscious decision to slow down and pay attention. When school zone lights are flashing, slow down. When school bus has its stop sign out, stop. It's that simple, and it's the law. This campaign works because of partnerships with schools, law enforcement, community leaders, and parents. Everyone has a role in protecting our kids. Illegally passing a school bus puts children and others on the road at serious risk. I want to remind everyone of Addie's Law that was passed July of 2024. It is now a high and aggravated misdemeanor should you pass a stopped school bus. This is punishable by a minimum of a $1,000 fine, 12 months in jail, and 6 months on your license. Again, we're just asking everyone to have a little extra time, a little extra patience, slow down, and stay vigilant. Thank you.
I'm going to call our board president, Mr. Roger Moss, up to the podium. He has a few words he'd like to say as well.
Good morning. Thank you, AAA. Thank you, all of our municipalities and all of the officers standing here. I'm in the safest place in Savannah right now. These are children. And just remember, they're children. They're unpredictable, and watch out for them. Start your day a little bit earlier so you're not running late. When the buses stopped, stop. We're going to have an incredible year, and let's not start the day on a negative note. Let's start the day with all of our kids arriving safely and you arriving safely. So remember, if the bus is stopped, stopped. If there's a flashing sign, slow down. And let's have an incredibly safe year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moss. Thank you also to our superintendent, Dr. Denise Watts. Thank you to Garrett Townsend from AAA, and thank you to all of these law enforcement agency partners from the state and from the local level, as well as obviously from our BOEPD department. We thank you all for being here to get this important message out to our families and to the community at large who will be driving through our school zones next week when all those students return. We will be, everyone will be here if you want to get some one-on-one interviews for the next few minutes. Thank you all for coming.